Hola estudiantes, este video es sobre la lección número 1 en Portales 1 de VHL Central. So this is going to be for lesson 1. I'm going to show you some important resources that you can use to review for your test. So as I said, you're going to have your book available in the content tab if you go to eCompanion. And we are going to start talking about the book and our unit number 1. So as you can see in here, we have lección número 1, and we're talking about how to introduce myself, how to greet some other people, how to say goodbye. So if you go to Hola, ¿qué tal? Page number 1, you're going to see the goals of the unit are to greet people, to say goodbye, to identify yourself and others, so to introduce yourself, and talk about the time of the day. So you're going to be able to tell the time at the end of this unit. This is the theme for lección número 1 in Portales 1. So if you go to page 38, you're going to find a full list of words relevant to the unit. So as you can see in here, you have saludos, greetings, farewell, words to or questions to ask how someone is doing, to express how you're doing, how to address to people, how to introduce yourself, how to tell where you're from, some words like please and thank you, additional words. We're going to talk about nouns, and we're going to talk about the verb to be, numbers, and tell the time. So if you want to have a full list of these words, please go to your eCompanion in page 38. Remember that you also have in here, in the content tab, if you go to vocabulary tools, you're going to be able to access your flashcards, lección número 1, and then you can study the flashcards here that is going to quiz you with all those words relevant to the unit, okay? So once we talked a little bit about the vocab and how to access those resources, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the grammar. So I'm going to go to grammatical point 1.1, which is nouns and articles. So a noun is a word to identify people, animals, places, things, or ideas. So every word or most of the words that you know are nouns. For example, we are talking about cat and dog and woman, boy, girl, life, love, table, computer. All of those are nouns. So those are things or people or places to talk about specific items, specific people. So the most important difference between English and Spanish in relation to nouns is that all nouns in Spanish have a gender. So it doesn't matter that they are non-living things. All of them have a sign, or they have they are related to a noun. But it doesn't mean that the word itself or the noun itself has a gender. For example, a table, or a computer, or a wall, or a window. It doesn't mean that these things have a gender, but they have been related to a gender based on the word to refer to that thing. So for example, computadora or mesa, that means table. Those words, even though a computer doesn't really have a gender, but the word to refer to computer, which is computadora, has a feminine gender in Spanish. I know it might be a little bit odd to you, but that's the way that Spanish works. So all of the words that you are going to learn have a gender, or the word, not the noun itself, but the word to talk about that noun has a gender. So in Spanish there can be feminine and masculine nouns, but also singular and plural nouns. And this is a little bit more familiar to you because in English you also have, singular and plural, which is bus and buses, or computer, computers. So we're going to talk about those as well. So in Spanish, you have these nouns and articles. So for masculine nouns, usually you're going to see the ending O or ista. For feminine nouns, you're usually going to see the ending a, ora, ista. So for example, in here, let's compare. We have masculine and we have feminine nouns. El hombre, la mujer. El chico, la chica. El pasajero, la pasajera. El conductor, la conductora. El turista, la turista. So you can see that these two words are the same, and ista shares actually between masculine and feminine. But the most important part is that we're going to know if it's feminine or masculine because of the context. And also, we have in here an article that is telling me that all of these are masculine, el, right? And feminine, la. Okay? So when you hear la computadora, that is feminine, la mesa, that is feminine, el auto, that is masculine, el refrigerador, this is masculine as well. So it is very important that you focus on that article that goes in front of the word. So another reason to memorize this is that some of the words are going to be a little bit confusing. For example, in here, we have the word el mapa. Mapa ends in A, and you're going to think that this is a feminine word. However, mapa, or map in English, it's a masculine word. There's not really explanation to this, but the only thing that we can do is to memorize that map or mapa is a male noun. So we're going to say el mapa, and we're not going to say la mapa. We're not going to say la problema, which is problem in Spanish. We say el problema. So we have a few of those words that can be confusing. So that's why it is very important that you pay attention to the article that you see in front of that word, like in here, el mapa or la mano. That ends in O, but it's a feminine word. So as I said, these nouns are going to have a gender. It doesn't matter that they don't refer to living things like animals or like a person that we can tell or we can make, that we can see if the person or the animal is male or female. So we are going to refer to non-living things as well with gender. So we are going to look at these two comparisons that we have in here. We have masculine nouns referring to non-living things and feminine nouns. So we're going to follow a little bit of the same rules looking at the endings. So for example, in here we see the ending O, a, ma, sion, es, and dad. So these are a little bit more unconventional endings, but if you look in there, you're going to have an idea of a pattern that you're going to start seeing in the nouns. So if you pay attention here, then again, we have all the time el and all the time la. So you have to pay attention to that because that is going to give you the hint if you are talking about masculine or if we're talking about feminine. And pay attention to the endings as well. And then as soon as you pay attention to that, you're going to start seeing patterns. Now, when we want to use those nouns in plural, we're going to add an S. And this is very similar to what we do in English. For example, we say computer, computers, book, books. So something similar is going to happen in Spanish. We say el chico, the boy, and then we say los chicos. Now, if you can see in here, we added an S. But not only that, We also change the article from el to los. So we're going to stop a little bit more to talk about the articles, but just please keep that in mind. So in Spanish and also in English, we have two kinds of articles. We have definite article and we have indefinite articles. So we're going to use the definite articles to refer to something in particular. It's different when we say the computer. There is like an understanding. We know which computer we're talking about. Different than when we say a computer. I want a computer. It doesn't really say much about what computer I want, okay? So that's why it's an indefinite article. I'm trying to say I want a computer. It doesn't matter to me which one, but I want a computer. If I say I want the computer I saw at the store yesterday, I'm talking about a specific computer. So keep that in mind. We have definite and indefinite. The definite articles are going to be four. They're going to be to masculine and to feminine. Also to singular and to plural. We're going to have el, los, la, las. All of these mean the in English. I know this is going to be a little bit challenging, but please keep this in mind because it's going to be really useful for you. So we're going to say el diccionario. I'm talking about the specific dictionary, the dictionary. Sorry. Los diccionarios, the dictionaries. There's an understanding. I know which ones I'm talking about. La computadora, the computer. Las computadoras, the computers. I know which ones I'm talking about. The computers at the library. Las computadoras en la biblioteca. So that's only an example. If we go to indefinite articles, we're going to talk about four specific ways to talk about indefinite articles that are not talking about specific things. So for example, in here, a passenger, okay? Un pasajero. I'm not talking about the specific one. There's only one passenger or a passenger I'm talking about. Unos pasajeros, some passengers. As you can see, this is more ambiguous. It is more vague than the previous one. Una fotografía, just a random photograph. Unas fotografías, some photographs. So that's going to be the main difference between definite articles and indefinite articles. We're going to talk about specific and we're going to talk about non-specific over here. We have, then again, we have el, los, la, las, and you can see that all the words match in here. El diccionario, los diccionarios, la computadora, las computadoras, un pasajero, unos pasajeros, una fotografía, unas fotografías. So make sure that all the articles you're going to use match the noun that you're talking about.